Hi Scorpio, it's Rebecca with Empathic Crow. I forgot I had even set this over on my shelf, but these are the Oracle, or is the Oracle deck that I created. It's available in digital to download, not trying to necessarily sell, but at the same time, hey, it's available. But I was being called to it to start with. So we're going to see where we're going with this. Welcome. This is focused on the energy for June 2026. However, anytime that you see it, there could be a message for you. It is a timeless reading, but it's also a general read. So that means that I'm looking at the energy of the collective, however many people are in the collective that this message is for or that are going to view this video. So please keep that in mind. Personal reads are always more accurate because they focus on your energy, and any guidance or future is always potential and possibility because you have free will and a choice. Not sure why I felt called to say it that way. I feel like I used to say it that way when I first started recording these videos. We'll shuffle a couple of times, but that felt important. So please excuse me, my thumb is giving me some issues. And these cards, because I laminated them, are not easy to shuffle. We have a number of them on the floor, but as I said, I was called to use this deck, so we will see if they are part of the message. I'm just going to pick them up in order of what's closest to me to what's furthest away, and we will see what we have. We have dog hair on them because one of my dogs sheds like crazy. Well, I mean, Scorpio, this could be a read all in one. So what we have, the first one that I put down was express gratitude. So this is part of the guidance, but in the way that I'm using it right now, we're not necessarily looking at it as for individual types of cards. So express gratitude. And then we have freedom. So expressing your gratitude, and even we have grateful, feels like that's part of what leads to your freedom as you focus on your growth. So even in that, I feel like what we're saying is there are things to be grateful for, even if we don't always see them. And we don't always think to express gratitude, especially for the things that feel difficult or feel like they weren't a good situation. But that's part of our growth, because sometimes the difficult things that we go through are going to propel us forward or help us to grow more than the things that were easy. Not everything's going to just come to us. Freedom is not just found in the things that we don't feel are a struggle, is what I'm hearing. You can speak your truth, and that can sometimes create this freedom that you want, but it's also being able to rest. So if you feel like there's so much that's going on, maybe you haven't spoken your truth, because that's the way it feels, is that you don't know how to speak the truth that's coming to you, at least not in a way where you feel like you're not going to be misunderstood. So if this doesn't resonate with you, then this may not be your reading, because this is definitely what's coming forward. So Scorpio, you can definitely stay if you're curious, but don't feel like it resonates, and maybe it does in a moment, but we will see. But it feels like there's a struggle with being able to express some of the things that you're grateful for, even if you do express gratitude at times, because this is a period of growing, and growth can be difficult, and it doesn't necessarily feel like freedom, but that's where it gets you. And I see a crow squawking. So I feel like you've spoken your truth in the past and you feel like others misunderstood you. Again, that misunderstood piece is really big here. And Spirit's calling you to rest. Take a pause. Take a pause. So we're going to see where we're going with that. I'm going to take this deck. Yeah. Renewal. And the Alchemist. So renewal, being able to figure out how to rest, how to find peace, how to allow yourself to get out of the state that, I mean, I'm getting pressure in my head like I did with the Leo reading, where we talked and you weren't necessarily in there unless you want to watch it. But there was a lot of just like stress and overthinking that was going on. The alchemist, you can create this change. You can be the alchemist. Anyone can step into this role of the alchemist. But to do alchemy, it's recognizing the difficulties in order to navigate and create change, to create it into something that isn't necessarily even the best thing ever, but it's different and it's part of your growth. Part of that's going to be you focusing on feeling connected. And I put that flower with the eye, if you can see it on there, because for my meaning, as I was creating the cards, it's connected to your intuition. Understanding, because I'm seeing the word anxiety, understanding, and I said this to a lot of clients throughout the years before I wasn't a clinician, by choice, out of the box. I found my own freedom, and it wasn't necessarily the easiest choice. Apparently, I'm feeling called to share this with you. So I feel like that's the thing, is that our intuition, it's instinct, it's survival skill. It is innate within all of us. Everyone has intuition. However, growing your intuition or connecting with your intuition and being able to trust it, those are different things. And it's really difficult for us to do sometimes because we also have a nervous system and we have emotional imprints, past experiences that when our intuition says, our instinct says something's off, our brain is trying to decide before we even get up to this frontal lobe of judgment. We're back here in the amygdala and alarm bells are going off, but we don't know why. And so it takes a while to travel to the frontal lobe so that we can say, oh, that felt like this, but it might not have been. So this is calling you to step back and try to tease out what really is intuition, in a sense that I'm feeling something's off, and that means whatever it is that you feel like happened in the past, which could be anxiety. I'm worried that when somebody speaks to me in this tone, or when I'm at a job and the boss emails me and says, hey, can you come talk to me or whatever, your instinct, your intuition may say, ooh, something's off. And then your anxiety or your emotional imprints say, this is a bad situation, this is going to happen. And then we start responding to what we think, or recognizing the intuition's telling you something's off. So we're a little curious about it. We start connecting and we can say, all right, so maybe I did something wrong and it's just a quick fix. Or when this person was talking, maybe their tone of voice was about something that happened before they even talked to me. And I'm just interpreting it as that tone is directed at me. So that's what I mean with checking out how we feel. And the next card is proceed with caution. So that's the guidance. And that doesn't necessarily, even though I put a scarecrow on there, proceeding with caution doesn't necessarily mean that it's a validation. Oh, I forgot to eat. That something is actually happening. It means that you take time to pull back and really evaluate what it is that's happening. Yeah, we don't want to create, like Sagittarius, I'm just pulling them off the deck, but Scorpio, I promise we're going to move forward. But we don't want to create a situation where we feel lonely, left out, or misunderstood because we're misreading our intuition and our anxieties. We're getting them crisscrossed. Because there is a soul tribe for you. But if you're feeling defensive, goodness gracious, this is hilarious, and you don't have all the knowledge, then it's going to be really hard to keep people in your life because you're not grounded. You don't have to perform all the time because you're not the entertainer. If you want to be, you can, but your life doesn't have to feel like it's a performance. So navigating it is you embracing new beginnings and coming from a grounded place where you are expressing and standing your ground, expressing your thoughts and standing your ground, and not allowing the stress to take over because you're considering options and you're feeling more confident. Pause before responding because you create the life that you want. I'm like, all right, you got to get calm. And there may be grief over the things that you've experienced. I'm just, I guess, showing you my whole deck, which was not the intention. But not everything is a trick. You can protect your peace and also be open to the abundance around you because you're feeling aligned and focused, and you are releasing the things from the past. All right, I'm going to stop there, even though it looks like I could keep going, because A, I don't want to show my whole deck on here, although I do love it, and B, that is a full reading, but it's not like I'm sitting here trying to just show my cards off to you, but I felt called to them and I understand why. But we're going to switch decks. No, Spirit says I got to show you the card that was on the bottom. When we're in that energy where we're reacting more from our anxieties or emotional imprints, traumas, whatever you want to call them, that have happened in the past, and we're not taking a step back to recognize what our intuition is alerting us to, and then exploring and investigating, which Scorpio, that's one of the things that we're known for, investigating, researching. But even with that, we don't always interpret things in a way that's factual, because everybody, 11:11 on the clock when I said that, everybody perceives things in different ways. You don't have to see yourself or other people as the disruptor. It doesn't have to be a disruption. And you can manifest what you want through compassion and play that creates change. So listen to your divine guides, because you don't have to feel trapped, and you also don't have to be the peacemaker, but you do have to love yourself. And that's going to include opening yourself to love from others. Scorpio, I'm going to move on. We only have this many cards left, but that feels like it's complete from my deck. Let's move on to something else. I feel like we're at the point where Spirit says, let's go to some guidance. And I'm feeling called to the Namaste deck, Tori, Carmine, Salerno. I'm hearing shuffle 3 times. Okay. What is Spirit trying to tell you, Scorpio? What is Spirit trying to tell you? That one flipped. All right, so here's the image on the card. The blessing of just being. I can't make it up. You may have been thinking that if you had acted or chosen differently in the past. Oh, Scorpio, I feel like I'm going to cry because there's already a lot of, I may have pulled these cards out and just kind of, bloop, 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 but there's a lot of emotion in this. Let's see. We're going to start over with that one. You may have been thinking that if you had acted or chosen differently in the past, things would be better now. But in thinking this way, you fail to see the positive effects, your past actions and choices have had on both yourself and others. Look closely and you will see the many blessings. So Scorpio, maybe you're second guessing things. Maybe you struggle to see your light, or other people saw you, even if it was in a good way, differently than you see yourself. We get caught up a lot in our expectations and other people's expectations. And notice that this tree branch I just saw is going right over her third eye. So again, this is reconnecting with yourself. I feel like I've said this in almost every reading that I've done so far for these zodiac reads. And you are definitely the last one of the day. I'm about to lose my voice. But with that, this is you looking at what it is that you feel like you need, how you want to navigate through relationships, recognizing the beautiful things about yourself. And we can acknowledge the things that we want to change, but using those strengths to be able to create that change. Like I said, when I pulled this love card, that it's not just like opening to love, but it's loving yourself. I heard even the messy parts, Scorpio. That's it. I hope that helps. I know I kind of just like threw my whole deck at you almost. But it felt like that the message was aligned. 1444 when I looked up. I hope this was helpful. And if you would like a personal read to explore your personal situations, you can definitely book that with me. There will be a link in the description, and if not, it's definitely in the bio. And if you have any questions, just let me know. You can book those yourself. If it's a live session, there are dates that you can and times you can choose. If it is a recorded video, I try to get those out to you within, I think it's 48 hours, but definitely sometimes it may be sooner than that, just depending on when it comes in and when I'm able to get the read to you, but I will get it to you. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you liking, sharing, subscribing, watching the videos. It helps the messages get to more people who may benefit from them. And I always love the comments. They always make me smile. Even if they are an emoji, it still lights me up. So thank you so much. Take care. And whether it's in July's reading or another reading or a personal reading, I look forward to seeing you again.